welcome to Career Center. I'm Kimberly White, Executive Director of the Community Career Center, a resource center located in Naperville for people in career transition. Career Center will bring human resource professionals and other experts together to provide job search tips to assist you as you search for your next success. Later on Career Center, I will be joined by the Community Career Center's Program Coordinator, Cathy Giacobbe, to discuss a lot of new and exciting things happening at the center. But first, it is my pleasure to have Kent Palmer join me at the table. Kent is the business librarian at the Naperville Public Library. Welcome.
Thank you, Kim. Nice to be with you.
Yeah, I haven't seen you in a while, so it's good to see you again. Kent, tell me a little bit about you and what you do over at the library.
Well, I am the business librarian. I work at the Nichols Library in downtown Naperville. My charge is to assist job seekers and others who are looking for information that will help them with their endeavors. And we provide a lot of assistance to job seekers.
And I know that we have you at the center a couple times a year to give information to our job seekers, so we'll talk about that here in a little bit. But what I want to know are, what are some of the library resources available to job seekers?
Well, obviously, as a library, we have a lot of books. And so we have just about every book you can imagine has been published about job search. We try to keep that as up-to-date as possible so that job seekers are finding the information that is most relevant for them. So we do have books about the whole concept of job searching, but also specifically for resume writing and cover letters and interviewing skills and all of those sorts of things. And in addition to the books, we have quite a few databases or online resources, we call them. Subscription databases that allow people to access information that's not available on the web.
Right. And those are really nice because some of those can be very costly. So can you tell us about a couple of those that you have? Sure.
When I meet with job seekers, we always talk about the Brain Fuse Job Now database, an interesting name, but it provides a lot of expert guidance on resume development and also preparation for interviews. It does also allow for some job searching and for some career guidance, but our main function is building a resume. In addition to that, we also provide access to another one called Ferguson's Career Center, which allows a person to research job profiles to help them in a decision on what kind of a job are they looking for. Once they find that profile, it gives them a lot of information about the job, what kind of education requirements and experience requirements are usually required for that kind of a position. And then they can, the database allows them then to click over directly to actual job postings that are currently available that match that job profile once they find the one they like.
So what type of information do they have to put in order for them the profile to match up with?
Really, it's just a matter of using keyword searches.
Like they would.
So if you're looking for administrative positions or a sales position, you just key in those types of words. And they're usually, in most searches I do with people, we come up with hundreds of different profiles.
Really? All right, so you're at the Nichols Library, and there's 2 other libraries in the system. So how does someone get help with the resources? Is there someone, I'm assuming, at all 3 libraries?
Well, at any of our reference desks, our staff is prepared to guide people to these resources. But at each library, we also have an individual, myself at Nichols, Diane Giovanni at the 95th Street Library, and Beth Marcus at the Naper Boulevard location, that are all prepared to receive individual requests for a one-to-one appointment. So we would meet with individual job seekers, and that could be arranged either by phone or by email, which contact information is on our website. And then we would meet with job seekers and find out exactly what they're looking for, and then walk them through those resources that are available at the library that respond specifically to their needs.
And can any person come in and do that? Do you have to be a card holder?
No, we're willing to accept anybody. Anybody can contact us and come on in, and we'll show them how to use the resources.
All right, so when you first meet with the job seeker, do you have kind of a plan for them, or do you just find out like where they are in their job search and you discuss how you can
No, we're not any kind of preconceived plan. We try to identify what they actually need. And so if a job seeker feels very confident in their resume, for instance, I may not spend any time with one of those resources, BrainFuse Job Now, and move on to other things. So it really depends on the individual and what they need at that time.
And then how can one find out about special services that are, available to them?
Well, through the website, we list our programs and events. There's also a space there where they will find the contact information to set up a one-to-one session. And when we meet with people, we help them identify all of the resources that are available, whether it's our online databases or the print materials or programs that we're running. We can guide them that way.
Now, I'm going to go back to the online databases. When they go on there, is that something they can come back to each time they go?
Yeah, absolutely. And in fact, anybody coming into the library can access any of our databases at the library. If a person wants to access from outside of the library, then they would need to have a Naperville Library card.
Okay.
And then they would log in to the library's access point and be able to open up those databases, and they can actually do a lot of that research and searching from anywhere.
So the job seeker resource databases they can do from home?
From home or anywhere with internet access.
Is that new? Is that something that's always?
No, it's always been that way.
Okay.
If you have a Naperville card, you can do that.
Okay. So you mentioned the BrainFuse, and then you mentioned one other.
I mentioned Ferguson's Career Center.
Okay.
And then in addition to those two, another very popular database is called A to Z Databases.
Okay.
And it's used to make a target list.
Oh.
And of course, in this case, I always call it a target list of employers. It's a directory database that has a considerable amount of information on businesses as well as residents throughout the country. And so it's possible to search a specific geography and a specific type of business and a size of business. With those three elements, we can usually make a pretty nice list for a job seeker.
And you also have, Cranes and the Business Ledger and some of those other things.
We do have local publications that would be useful in a job search, like those you've mentioned, plus the newspapers as well, of course.
So that the target, the A to Z, is that similar to if someone wanted to find out a little bit about a company that, how many employees they have and all of that information?
That information is available. It does have historical data showing the number of employees over a couple of years period of time, as well as company revenues over a couple of years period.
Yeah, is this something you would do in the one-on-one appointment if somebody wanted some help with doing that?
Almost always we end up doing that and show them how to make a list, and I always give them a little guide sheet to take with them so that they can get back in there and do it again.
All right. So what are some of the other resources available to job seekers specifically?
Well, we've kind of hit on it.
Okay.
In addition to those online resources that I've mentioned, if somebody wanted to do some industry research, preparation for an interview and research a specific company, or just to be prepared when they go out on an interview, on a networking contact, I always tell them they need to be the smartest person in the room. And so one of the ways you do that is to do a little library research. So in addition to the databases we've mentioned, we also have some business databases like the Business Insights Essentials or Plunkett Research Online. And then we also have some investment tools that include Morningstar and S&P Global's Net Advantage. So each of these databases I've just mentioned allow a job seeker to do a deep dive into a company's history, a company's current projects and revenues, as well as just getting Wall Street analyst reports on larger companies.
And then also on like computers and stuff. I know you guys have computers there.
We do.
Yeah. Could job seekers come in and if they need to do a Skype interview or something like that with the potential employer? Is that something?
Certainly they could. The computer labs are located at all three locations. They're all set up to access the internet. No one needs any kind of login. They can just come in and start using a computer. It's possible to print from there as well. We also have a scanner that could scan to fax or scan to an email, so as they're transmitting documents. So we support all of those functions. Someone would need to have a headset in order to do a Skype interview. So that might require some special conditions where they would talk to us beforehand to get that set up. But otherwise, for all of those other uses, the computers are available. Come on in.
Okay. So the recommendation then, it sounds like, in addition to all the other things, is there's database on the online databases, some of the publications. Is there anything else they should think about?
No, I think publications, both current journals and newspapers, as well as books, and the online databases are really the core of our resources.
What are some of the journals that you would recommend?
Well, you mentioned Cranes and the Business Ledger.
There's some others.
And that's primarily what we have.
And then any other books? What are some of the books that are out there on the Times best-selling list that some of the job seekers
Well, what I tell everybody when they come in, the two best books for job search, in my opinion.
I'm taking notes, so let me know. Yeah.
In my opinion, one is called The Rites of Passage at $100,000 plus, and that's written by John Lucht. And I think that he really nailed it in that book on every aspect of job search and job changing.
Oh, okay. And who is that by? John Lucht?
Yeah, John Lucht. It's L-U-C-H-T is the last name.
Okay.
And the second one that I really like is What Color is Your Parachute by Richard Bull.
Yeah, that's a great book.
It's a tremendous book, a book that I've benefited from myself.
Yeah, we have that at the Career Center.
Yes.
So, yeah, I have to get the other one. So I know there's a lot of programs and workshops that are going to be coming up. Can you tell me some things in September that you have coming up other than what we're doing over there? Or you can actually talk about that as well.
Well, we do have the Career Center coming over in August, actually, on the 17th. It was going to be talking about business writing in job search for cover letters and resumes and thank you notes and handbills and all of the different parts of writing that go into a job search. So that's an important one.
Yeah.
Then early in September, we also will be hosting the Career Center, putting on a program called Mom Inc. And you folks do a tremendous job with moms as they're returning to the workforce. So we'll be hosting you to do that one at the library. And both of those are going to be at the 95th Street Library.
Right.
And then the other workshops that we do is we try to take that out on the road a little bit. So sometimes we come over to the Career Center and talk about how to use library resources in your job search. So I try to introduce the things that we've discussed today. And then we also do a program for networking for job seekers, which has been pretty popular. And so we'll probably be doing that in September as well.
Very good. Well, the library is definitely full of a lot of good books and a lot of good resources for job seekers. So Kent, thank you so much.
It's been my pleasure. Thank you.
All right. Well, we are out of time with Kent. Again, thanks for sharing your knowledge to our viewers here at the library. Now, don't go away, because when we come back, Cathy Giacobbe will be joining me at the table. She is the CCC's newest program coordinator.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. But it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, she's putting them in the same basket again. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
Welcome back to Career Center. I'm Kimberly White, and I am happy to have joining me at the table, Cathy Giacobbe. Cathy is the program coordinator at the Community Career Center, and we have a lot of great things going on there. So, Cathy, welcome.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to joining the team.
So, Cathy, first let's talk a little bit about who you are and what you've done in the past.
Okay. Well, in my previous life, I was in human resources for a number of years. After 10 years of being at home and volunteering in the community, I decided to get back into work, and I started volunteering at the Community Career Center first last year and enjoyed getting back into working with clients and job seekers and helping them find what their next opportunity is. And then an opportunity came up at the Community Career Center for a program coordinator, and as you know, you and I started talking about it, and here I am.
Yeah, the rest is history. So I know as the program coordinator, one of the things, or you're responsible for a lot of things, but the main thing you're responsible for is bringing programming to the center. So what are some of the things that you have kind of on the docket that you are looking to bring on board here at the center?
Well, one of the new things that we're starting to bring on board is really kind of getting our orientation a little bit more involved. And starting with that, after the first orientation, which is a group orientation that folks are available to come into the center on Wednesdays and Saturdays at 9 a.m. For a full orientation. The second step to that is working one-on-one with a volunteer to go through the different areas of a job search strategy to figure out what areas they need help in.
Right.
And then taking that and figuring out a plan for them so that we can find which resources we have that will best help them.
I think it's going to be really good, that intake, because it's going to be one-on-one with our volunteers, and we should probably share a little bit about our volunteers because, like you, many of them have a background in HR, and this is something that comes very natural to them.
Yeah, we have a great number of volunteers, a lot of human resource volunteers, training volunteers, recruitment, but also people in the business world that have been out in the world kind of living
doing all the things that
kind of getting things going. So we have a great group of volunteers, and depending on what the client or job seeker is looking for, we try to match them up accordingly.
So now when a job seeker comes in, they're going to be participating or taking this intake questionnaire that they're going to have to go through. So talk a little bit about what that intake does.
So what we're looking to do is really sit down and talk with them specifically about 6 different areas that we provide resources to, starting with career exploration, which really takes a look at, does the job seeker know what type of job they're looking for? Are they looking to stay in the same field? Are they looking to transition to something else? And that's what that first module is all about. And then after that, we've got job search strategy, which is really kind of creating a plan for them of what they need to do, and kind of, and at times kind of creating a timeline as well, so that they can get moving and get on the right track.
Setting their priorities, making sure everything is,
Then, of course, we've got resume review and resume writing, one-on-one sessions, as well as group workshops.
And in that resume session, or when they talk about resumes, it's talking about formatting as well as making sure you're using keywords and your summary statement. There's a lot of things involved in writing that resume.
There is a lot more involved, I think, than there even was 10 years ago for that new job seeker, because now a lot of companies have gone to automated systems to review resumes. So you really now need to target your resume to specific positions that you're applying to, much more than you had to do in the past. And so I think for a lot of our job seekers that maybe haven't had a look for a job in a while, that's a big change. And so we're seeing a lot of folks come in looking for that help.
And they really need to understand that automatic system, that tracking system.
Yes.
Because if you can have the best resume in the world, and you can, be qualified or overqualified for a position, but if you don't understand kind of that automatic tracking system, it's not going to matter.
So really, formatting, simple is best, and just making sure that you've got all the right keywords in there that will kind of flag your resume to folks, but also making sure you're boasting your accomplishments and making making sure it's telling you your story.
So unless you're a graphic artist or something, you just need a really simple resume with all the right information, no fancy tables, none of that fancy stuff. All right. So
and then of course interview skills. You can't get enough of interview skills. We can do interview skills in terms of a workshop, in terms of a mock interview, so you're practicing interviewing for a particular position, or we can actually even videotape your interview so you can see how you present yourself when you're looking on the other side. And all three of those can be very helpful to folks.
Yeah, I really think that video interview is very helpful. I don't think, I talk a lot with my hands, but I think it's important for people to see kind of what you're doing when you're in the middle of an interview.
Yeah, no, that's a great tool. And I use that a lot as a volunteer at the community center. And we're hoping to, in the future, also create something for Skype interviews, which are becoming more and more popular. So folks realize how they look on the computer when they're talking to a potential client.
Yeah, and all those important things, stand up when you're talking if you're doing a Skype or phone interview, because you project differently when you do that. Also, on the interview thing, some of the things that we talk about is the phone interviews and how to answer those behavioral-based questions, which I think are really important. If you've not interviewed in 5 or 6 years, the interviews are very different.
Very different. And so we kind of go after that in all different sides, and we turn our workshops and the one-on-ones that we're able to offer through our volunteers. We really can help in any way needed.
Right. Okay, so mock interviews, and then what else?
Oh, and LinkedIn. LinkedIn is becoming more and more popular, obviously, with the job search. And we have workshops, LinkedIn Basics and a LinkedIn Beyond the Basics that we offer pretty much every month, as well as one-on-one sessions with LinkedIn where you can sit with a volunteer and work on creating a profile that will represent you the best way.
LinkedIn, it's really so important. And so for those folks who say, I don't want to deal with the computer stuff, if you're not LinkedIn, I tell you, a company may be out there waiting for you, but you got to be LinkedIn. You got to have that profile.
Well, and it's a great way to network. There's so many connections that you may not even know you have until you start connecting with friends, and then all of a sudden you have an interview, and for some reason your neighbor knows who you're interviewing, and there's your connection in.
Right. And then we also have networking.
Yes.
Did we mention that? Yeah.
I thought we talked about that. So yes, we have networking, which is a completely new skill that a lot of folks, again, if they've been in the workforce for a while, they may not have had to do a ton of networking. However, now when you're looking for a job, I want to say a good percentage of folks find their jobs through networking. So
I think it's at 80%, maybe 85%. I mean, that number keeps kind of inching up. So.
And in response to that as well, we host a lot of job groups as well as support folks going to other places for job clubs and job groups where you can do more and more networking through different areas, because the more people you can touch, hopefully the more positive outcome you'll have.
Yeah, so some of the networking, and we have our job club, which meets on Wednesdays.
Yes, job club on Wednesdays, and it's
every Wednesday at 10:30.
And that is a place where folks can come in and kind of give their 2-minute spiel about what types of skills they have, what they're looking for, what their target companies are, and the people in the room will help each other connect the dots there. We also have our Lean In workshop, which is a women's networking group that will help support specifically women that are looking for networking opportunities and job searching, as well as a men's group as well. And then we also have MAP Mondays. And what MAP Mondays are is an accountability group where every Monday we host it, and we have one of our board members supporting it or facilitating it. And that's really an accountability group where you say, on Monday morning, this is what I'm going to do this week. And you go through, and that next Monday when you show up, they're going to ask, did you make those 5 phone calls? Did you send out those emails? Did you create your resume, whatever it might be, that depending on where you are in your job search.
And one of the reasons we put that on Mondays is so people are, when you're going to work every day, you typically on Mondays you have a place to go. So we want to get their week started off right.
Exactly.
And so that's why we started the MAP Monday group. And then we also do computers. We have if you want to learn how to brush up on your skills in computers.
Yeah, so after you join MAP Monday, you can go over to the workstations, and we have, I think, 10 workstations available for folks, and they have tutorials on them, so you can brush up on your computer skills, whether that be Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and so forth. We also have a listing of jobs there, all the jobs that we get in. Every week we post on those workstations for 2 weeks so folks can see those and apply to them. As well, there are other resources like other job
Networking groups
that are being pulled together, or agencies that are looking to hire, things like that.
Yeah, and the workstations are really nice because you're there, you've got your space, you're not at home trying to do this job search at home. You know, you have your cubicle, if you will, and you can do your job search and be amongst your peers.
Yeah, it's dedicated time that you can spend just to that and have no distractions.
Now, on top of all that, we also have all the different workshops. So a variety of workshops that we offer throughout the month. So take a look at our calendar and they'll find all that. I want to spend some time talking about the Phoenix Group.
Okay.
The Phoenix Group is something that we started a couple of years ago, and we're tweaking it a little bit. And it's geared towards folks that are really looking to kind of get somebody to kind of help them with that job search. People that maybe they're stuck a little bit.
Yeah, I'm excited about this. What it is an intense accountability group, which we're thinking it's going to be about 2 months in duration, and really targeting some folks that are very, very committed to their job search, because they're going to have to dedicate some time to it. And with those folks, we would be matching them up with specific volunteers, creating a plan for them, and they would have to go through this whole process within a period of time. And given the intensity of the program, the goal is to get them landed into a position quicker and in the right fit.
Right. So there's really a huge commitment on their part. If you're really serious about your job search, give us 2 months. We're going to put you through all these modules. Make sure you get through them. You have to commit to them. And then hopefully you're going to be in a better position. I know it's pretty intense. And so we really want people to know that going into it.
Right, and it gives folks a chance to refocus and get some really great help in refocusing their search and creating that strategy and really being held extremely accountable for that period of time.
Right, and we call that what? Recharge?
Recharge, refresh, and refocus.
Recharge, refresh, and refocus. Yeah. We're definitely going to do that. And any other resources that we missed out on there?
In terms of other resources, I would say we have assessments that we have that, so if folks are looking to change a career or transition into something, or they're not quite sure what their skills can lead them to, we have different assessments that they can take. As one as I can't stress enough, I know we talked about a little bit, but those one-on-one meetings. Yeah. We have a great group of volunteers that will meet one-on-one with any of those 6 modules that will help folks. And
those are really great.
They're a great resource.
And I think that's really what makes us unique. So, Cathy, we are so glad to have you as part of our team.
Oh, I'm glad to be here.
All right. Well, we're out of time. I want to again thank you for being part of the show. I also want to thank Kit Palmer for joining me on this month's edition of Career Center. And to our television audience, if you're unemployed, underemployed, or seeking a career change, visit the Community Career Center at 1815 West Hill Road, Suite 900 in Naperville, or search us on the web to learn more about the resources available to you as you search for your next success. Thanks for watching.